Hello, good afternoon. Today I'll be talking about the article that you see on your screen, which says that China has registered a contraction in GDP um, that did not happen for the past 40 years. Okay, so as you can see, mainland Chinese investors are selling Hong Kong property after China reports first GDP contraction in 4 decades. So Hong Kong is a popular attraction for mainland Chinese people to come and buy properties. So if you don't know how what these two terms are, mainland China is the actual China that we all know about. Hong Kong and Macau are the special administrative regions (SARs) of the People's Republic of China, and they will be handed down to China pretty soon. That's why you were seeing, protests in Hong Kong a few years back or even a few months back. So let's dive into the article. Mainland Chinese investors and property owners are cashing in on their Hong Kong real estate holdings as appetite for outbound investment evaporates in China. So people in China, the multimillionaires and the billionaires that China has produced so far, do not want to invest outside of China. They just want to be in China for a while because, as you know, the reputation of China has taken a big hit. People don't want to, invest in China anymore. That's why even the investors that are in China don't want to buy properties outside of China. So the next paragraph is with COVID 19 coming at a time of trade tensions, some forced selling is highly likely. That's what they're saying. So the thing is that most of these sellings are forced sellings because what is happening is that the prices of the house are going down. So a $27 million house is selling at $20 million, and on top of that, if you are from mainland China, then you have to pay $2 million of stamp duty to the Hong Kong government because you are not a citizen of Hong Kong. So as you can see, a 639 square feet flat at Century Link in Tongcheng sold for HK Hong Kong dollar 7.6 million. A 639 square foot flat, which is such a small space to be honest, but Hong Kong real estate prices are very high. That's why such a small flat is sold for $7.6 million. The homeowner was pessimistic about market prospects, so he did not hesitate to cash in. As the homeowner is a mainlander, he had to pay the buyer stamp duty when he entered the market. His exit actually cost him 2 million Hong Kong dollars. Just understand how this works, okay? So, Hong Kong does not allow mainland buyers to buy property into Hong Kong as if there's no tomorrow, okay? They have to make sure that they are preserving their own local market in Hong Kong because Hong Kong is still not entirely a part of China. Okay, in 1997, British handed Hong Kong over to China on a 50-year lease. Okay, so after 50 years from 1997, which is like 2047, Hong Kong is going to just be like completely part of China. It will not be an SAR, which is like a special administrative region. It will entirely be a part of China, and that's why there are so many protests happening because many people do not want to be a part of China. So China's economy shrank for the first time since 1976 in first quarter. Another mainland Chinese investor sold these many for a square foot of villa at the Beverly Hills in Taipo for 20 million Hong Kong dollars. It was bought for $28.5 million almost 10 years ago. Just imagine. So this guy bought the flat for almost $28 million and sold it for $20 million. So a net loss of almost $8 million without any gains whatsoever. So that's how a recession affects everything. Okay, that's how a depression just wipes out everything all over the world. Mainland buyers have also stopped buying Hong Kong property. Okay, the number of homes eligible for buyer's stamp duty, which is paid by non-local or company buyers, plummeted to a historic low of 42 in March, a 92.1% decline from high of 534. So this is exactly what was expected to happen, because China right now is facing many problems. First, is the virus. Second is the economy is sinking, as you can see from the GDP figures. Then third is the reputation damage. Okay, you must have heard recently Trump accused China of he said that maybe they manufactured the virus in one of the labs in Wuhan. So China will be a very different country once this crisis is done, because people will be very wary of getting anything from China once we are through this crisis. So I'll just go through a few more paragraphs where it says that about half of mainland Chinese investors are planning to reduce their investments in overseas markets this year. The economic downturn caused by COVID 19 will have a significant impact on deal volume in 2020. The subsequent impact on global asset prices in specific sectors such as retail, hotels, and senior care facilities may create specific distress. Recovery in China's GDP will be weighed down by weak domestic and foreign demand. That's exactly what I was talking about. So weak domestic and foreign demand. So even the domestic demand will dwindle and the foreign demand will dwindle, because if you have seen recently, Japan wanted to get all its factories out of China, and the Japanese government was giving incentive to the Japanese companies to shift their offices from China to other countries, say Vietnam, India, Indonesia, or somewhere in Africa. But they don't want to have these factories in China, because what happened is that the entire world just banked on China. Okay, China was considered as the manufacturing hub of the world, and so that cost them. Okay, so when you put all your eggs in one basket, if the basket breaks, all your eggs are gone. So that's like a phrase that people usually use. But if you put your eggs in different baskets and one of the basket falls, but you still have other eggs. Okay, so that's why people are trying to diversify as much as possible right now, and this is just an example of it. And one more thing that I'm seeing very starkly in this crisis is that regionalism has started propping up. So what I mean by that is, I personally think that the era of globalization is over at this point. Okay, I may be wrong, but that's just my hunch at this point. What will happen is that regional blocks will start forming, and they will just trade among each other. So what I mean by that is, US will trade mostly with Canada and Mexico, and maybe some Central American countries. Brazil will trade with mostly the South American countries. Then we have what Nigeria, South Africa will trade with the entire African continent. Germany will trade with the European continent, and in Asia, as I said, Asia will be the center of the world for in the next 10 to 20 years, because in Asia there are 5 to 6 major powers. Okay, there is India, China, Russia, Japan. Then you have Indonesia. Uh, you have South Korea. So you have Saudi. You have Turkey. Okay. So Asia has the major chunk of it, and so these Asian countries will just trade among themselves, because it is much easier to get products from Vietnam to India, or say Thailand to India, or even say Turkey to India, if because the cost of transportation is much less. Okay, but if you want to get say a locally manufactured electronics part from Brazil or some Latin American country, say Mexico or anything like that, it is going to take you days and days, because most of these big shipments always come by water. Okay, by waterway, not by the planes. You cannot have a truck delivered to your country by a plane. It always has to come by water, by ship, by sea. Okay, so I think the era of regionalism has really started, and we are into it as I speak. So I hope you learned something new in this article, and please like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments, and see you next time. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.